We have lots of Tesla stock breaking news to get into in this video, so I don't want to waste your Saturday. First things first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. Tesla has increased the price of the Model 3 Performance in the US by $1,000 to $53,990. Tesla has also lowered the price of the white interior and the black exterior paint option, both by $500. The reason, in my opinion, Tesla is raising prices on the Performance Model 3, I wouldn't be surprised if they raise prices further, by the way, is because the Performance qualifies for the $7,500 tax credit. So when you factor that in, you're actually getting a Model 3 Performance for cheaper than a long range because that variant does not have the $7,500 tax credit. So I'm sure you'll get more price increases to the Performance Model 3, and this is overall a good sign that there's strong demand for this new Model 3. Elon did make it very clear on the earnings call that Tesla is going to fluctuate pricing based on demand and what the order book ultimately looks like. So I think the markets are going to look past, for the most part, Tesla raising prices as a positive catalyst or Tesla lowering prices as a negative catalyst. There's going to be fluctuations, and the more we see price increases, obviously the better, but I don't think if Tesla lowers prices, a similar amount, let's say $1,000 on the Model Y or the Model 3 at some point down the line, that it's going to be this huge bad news as it was before. And that is the power of clarity. We got clarity on the earnings call. We have a lot better understanding, and there's a lot less uncertainty around Tesla's pricing strategy now than there was before. And here you can see in this video, there is a ton of Cybertrucks being spotted in the outbound lot of Giga Texas today. In fact, this is about $37 million worth of Cybertrucks. And I mean, you're looking at a couple hundred at least here in this image, probably closer to like 500 or 600 if you were to count each Cybertruck, and feel free to do so and let me know down below in the comment section. The official Cybertruck X account posted this exact image and says, how many triangles are in this photo? That's a very good question. Tesla North America post about their new Chicago Tesla Center, and it looks like it's pretty much right in the heart of downtown Chicago. Lotus has now partnered with NIO for battery swapping. NIO has about 2,400 battery swapping stations in China. Here you can see a ton of Performance Model 3s over in China. Presumably these look like Teslas that are going to be exported, but if you look at the buildings and the light post in the background, that's not really what it looks like. It doesn't look like a docking station, if you will, to take these Teslas away. These might be Model 3 Performances for China itself. Tesla has launched an enhanced autopilot subscription in China. This subscription is 699 yuan a month, about $99 US, so similar pricing there. 1,400 yuan for 3 months would be $66 per month. So a bigger discount if you commit for a longer period of time, which could be giving us some insight to what Tesla's model may become. Pay for a year up front, 6 months, 3 months up front, you get a discount. And honestly, that's probably not a terrible idea. But let me tell you right now, if FSD enters the Chinese market, not just enhanced autopilot, oh my gosh, that could be huge for Tesla. Keep in mind, the last 2 quarters now, Tesla has delivered more vehicles in China than in the US, whereas historically the US has been the most important market for Tesla. China is very quickly becoming the biggest market for Tesla, and the Chinese consumer tends to be very tech embracive and tech savvy, obviously, and I would imagine the take rates similar to the US, if not outright just like double. That wouldn't even surprise me. If the take rate here is 10%, it wouldn't surprise me. If the take rate's 50% higher, maybe 15%, maybe 100% higher, maybe 20%. And those could be some big numbers for Tesla. Elon Musk wrote on his X account and said, "We believe version 12 is ready for supervised FSD in LHD countries. RHD will take a bit longer." Now, just for a bit of a visualization, okay, right-hand traffic is basically all of your developed countries besides the UK and South Africa. India is also left-hand traffic, and Australia, as well as Japan. But your major markets, Canada, US, every other country in Europe besides the UK, you have China here. They're all right-hand traffic countries. So they all basically could use FSD, is what Elon is saying. I think it's just a moment or matter of time when we get the moment in time where FSD really does become pretty much global. I do believe if you start to get like a country in Europe, let's call it Germany, that approves FSD to enter the country, I'm sure the rest of Europe probably follows suit pretty shortly thereafter. And that's exactly what's happening. Holmar's catalog says on X, Tesla's FSD 12 is running in Europe, specifically in Germany, and Tesla is giving demos to regulators. Holmar's catalog says, "I need to buy more Tesla. I didn't think it was already working well enough in Europe to demo," adding that this is huge. Let's just run a couple simple calculations, okay? Tesla has about 6 million vehicles out on the road today, give or take. The take rate that we believe is around 10%. Now, if we go ahead and assume maybe the take rate rises, I want to be a little bit conservative with this estimate, but let's say the take rate of people that own Teslas today is about 15% after this trial is over with. 5% of Teslas out on the road opt into subscribing to Tesla's FSD. Now, they can pay for it up front, and you can factor that into your own calculations if you would like. Share your calculations down below in the comment section if you come to something that is different than mine. But that would be about 900,000 Teslas. Let's call it subscribe to FSD. You could probably cut this number in half because some are going to buy it outright, some are going to subscribe. But Tesla, the way they recognize FSD revenue is like they kind of recognize it whenever they want, okay? So we'll just stick with these numbers. Times 99, signaling $99 a month. That's $89 million. Times 12, that's over $1 billion. Okay, times this by, let's call it 90% net margins, it's about $962 million per year. Divide this by about 3.3 billion shares outstanding. You could be looking at a boost of about 30 cents, almost 30 cents, 29 cents for full year EPS. That is over 10% of Tesla's EPS that is expected this year by Wall Street. But check it out. I believe the take rate is probably going to be higher than 15%. So I think that's very conservative, and that's just counting everyone that's ever bought a Tesla, right? The amount of Teslas out on the road today. A lot of, older cars or older people, they may not get it right away. So the new take rate is probably closer to, let's say, 22%. I think it might be a little higher than 20%, but maybe not as high as 25%. Let's call it 22%. Let's say Tesla will include the Q1 deliveries as well. Q2 deliveries look like they're going to be a lot better. But if you go ahead and just assume Tesla's going to deliver about 1.9 million vehicles this year, that would only be a little bit of growth. Some people think it's going to be a negative number for the full year. Elon said he expects it to be a positive number this year. Call it 1.9 million. Let's say the take rate's 22%. That would be 418,000 Teslas that could subscribe to FSD this year alone. Okay, now keep in mind, we're going to add 900,000 to that because that's the current fleet at a 15% take rate. So you have 418,000 Teslas that may subscribe to FSD throughout this year, later on throughout the year. This could be November, December, right? So people that don't even have Teslas, we're just gonna throw some numbers out here. Times this by 99, representing $99 a month, times this by 12, and you could be looking at about $490 million, times this by 90%, and about $446 million could end up going to the bottom line. Now, what this could actually look like in reality is at some point towards the end of the year, you could have 900,000 Teslas on FSD from the fleet today, add about, let's just call it 400,000. Let's just round. It was a little bit higher than that, but let's just round, okay? So a little bit less than a 22% take rate. 1.3 million vehicles could be and likely will be subscribed to FSD by the end of this year, by December of 2024. Times this by $99 a month, that's almost $129 million. Times this by 12, you're looking at $1.54 billion. Times this by 90, you're looking at a net profit that could be around $1.4 billion. It's $1.389 billion. That's pretty sizable. Divide this by 3.3 billion shares outstanding. That's about 42 cents added to EPS. That actually does move the needle quite a bit. But if you start to consider Europe or other countries as well, then that's where you get to this full number, because I'm kind of including those other countries, right, in the total fleet size of Tesla. So you could maybe reduce that. Most Teslas have been sold in the US, though. That's been Tesla's biggest market, and there is over 2 million Teslas out on our roads today. So I think any way you want to do these numbers, any variation of these numbers, you still come to the same conclusion that this will be massive. And the more countries FSD enters into, the bigger it will become. And the more profits Tesla will bring in, because keep in mind, all you're doing is updating the software when you get FSD. You already have the equipment in the vehicle. Tesla already recognizes that cost of putting in the cameras, putting in the FSD chip when they produce the vehicles, which put it like that, that's kind of crazy that Tesla has the best margins in the auto business, considering they put all of this extra, hardware and, hardware, software related products in the cars. Imagine if they could leave out the full self-driving chip that's like this big. Imagine if they could leave out some of the cameras. Margins would be even better than where they are today, which just shows you how superior Tesla is to other legacy OEMs. So yeah, long story short, this can become a major part of Tesla's business. I don't think this is priced into Tesla's stock. So if we do get FSD entering into other countries, like Germany, like other countries in Europe, or China even soon, that's going to be great. Now, enhanced autopilot, fantastic. I would expect Tesla stock probably does very well on Monday. Based on this, we're going to have other things happening as well next week. Keep that in mind. It's going to be a volatile week. You have Fed Jerome Powell, you have Amazon, you have Apple earnings, you have a bunch of data coming out. So it's going to be a volatile week, but it wouldn't surprise me if Tesla stock reacts very well to this news we've went over here in this video coming Monday morning. The news on Friday that sent Tesla stock lower by about 1% was two senators. They want the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, that long abbreviation, to essentially restrict autopilot and FSD to roads it was built for, which some of you guys have pointed out, it was built for all roads. So that really doesn't mean much at all. And I think that's never going anywhere. FSD, full self-driving, autopilot, all of that shebang is here to stay. I mean, you have robotaxis operating out on the roads today that are driving into wet concrete, that are hitting fire trucks, ambulances. I mean, Tesla is just fine and don't worry about that at all. Full self-driving Google Trends data is falling a little bit today, down to about 37. Again, I just want to see where we kind of trend at, right? Prior to the trial, you were trending anywhere from 10 to 20. And if you're higher than that, if you're trending in the 30s, 40s, there's going to be highs and lows, obviously. But the trend, that's going to be a good sign. The take rate is probably higher. And if we go ahead and take a look at Google Trends data for the Cybertruck, that is ticking down a little bit from 64 to 60, but the Cybertruck is by far the most searched about Tesla product as of right now. And I mean, I find it hard to imagine in any world that a product gets released by a company that is so captivating. You literally have meme on meme on meme over on Facebook circulating about the Cybertruck, just gathering a lot of attention. This is probably like a record amount of quote unquote celebrities that have taken purchase of a Cybertruck and posted about it, because the thing is cool. It's weird. It's different. Some people love it. Some people hate it, but I don't think you can say that's not going to have a positive effect on other Tesla models. And I think you're actually starting to see that right now. And probably a reason why pricing can stay strong from Tesla at this point, even though Elon Musk said pricing will fluctuate, trying to compare Tesla to like dealerships in the sense of Tesla sells direct to consumers. So the pricing is really just stick out in your face, whereas dealerships use different methods to, reduce the price of vehicles, right? MSRP is never what you're going to pay for a car unless it's 2021 or 2022. Nonetheless, you can see the Model Y just went from 30 to 36, and the Model 3 went from 24 to 32. Quite a large uptick there for both the Model 3 and the Model Y. Even the Model S and the Model X are sitting at some of the highest levels they have been at in many, many months. Same is true for the Model 3 and the Model Y, and this is typically not the best quarters for Tesla. Q1, Q2 don't tend to be the best. Q3 and Q4 tend to be the better quarters for Tesla and really just auto companies in general. But yet Google Trends data is at the highest you've seen in over a year. I think that could translate into better demand than expected, and that could be an upside catalyst for Tesla stock at this point. Over on StockTwits, sentiment for Tesla is neutral at 49. That's better than where it was one day ago when it was at 45, so a little bit more positive today. Message volume is down a little bit. That's obviously going to happen on Saturday. Just interest in general in stocks or any kind of company or even cryptos for that matter, they're just down over the weekend, so I don't pay too much attention to that on the weekends, but it's not falling that much. Today it's normal at 45. Again, yesterday it was normal at 53, and the participation ratio is sitting at 54. But I will point out the sentiment's still neutral, and I think from a contrarian point of view, that could lead to more upside in Tesla stock because people are not overly bullish. When people are overly bullish on a stock, that's usually when you want to start being pretty cautious. Option activity for the full trading day on Friday was quite positive for Tesla. Now, there was a super low amount of trades going through, like the lowest day I've seen in a very long time. Only $31.5 million in option activity traded in Tesla by big money. These are hedge funds, institutions, money managers, all of those different, institutions or big money players. $31.5 million is like nothing, but it was very positive. You had 122 orders that comprised that $31.5 million with a positive order value of 67%. That's very strong. Now, on Thursday, you had similar numbers, but obviously a lot more actual trading going on in Tesla. You had 475 different trades, totaling $233 million with a positive order value of 64%. So over the last two trading days, hedge funds, institutions have definitely been doing some buying in Tesla options. And as I showed you guys in some of the last videos, you are getting a lot of unusual options trades that are popping up for like the end of 2025, targeting Tesla stock over $300 per share. Some options for mid 2025 or early 2026 are targeting $450, $500, $600 per share for Tesla. So there is some big money that are going out and making some risky, very large risky trades on Tesla. And usually if they're going out making those risky trades, if the stock's at $170 per share and they're going out, they're buying $500 calls expiring in, 12, 18 months, that's a good sign. Tesla stock's probably going higher from here. I also think the massive short position in Tesla could also help fuel some of your upside buying pressure. You have 3.84% short interest off your float, $18.11 billion that are currently sold short in Tesla, with about 106.42 million shares that are currently sold short. You also had 10% cost to borrow fees on Friday, which the higher the cost to borrow fees, the more demand there is to short a stock. So let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to come join the trading community, check out that link down below in the description of this video. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.